Hello everyone, George DeSantis here with the look at the market for the week ending Friday, August 14th, 2020. And as we always do, we need to bring up this disclaimer here and ask you to take a look because you need to know that I'm not attempting to give any particular person investment advice. This is done purely for educational purposes. It's first of all for my own edification and personal use, and then it's a video that anyone can take a look at and make of it whatever they will. So take a look at the disclaimer. We will begin by looking at some charts on the S&P. So let's start with a weekly chart of the S&P 500 as we usually do. The reasons for that. And we'll see that the exponential moving average, the 4 exponential moving average, is above the 9 exponential moving average, the yellow line versus the red line. And then this green line here is the 30 weighted, front weighted moving average. So, and that is above the 50-day moving average, the magenta line. So insofar as these moving averages are concerned, we still have a nice uptrend here on the weekly chart. Parabolic, this parabolic stop and reverse indicator, since it turned positive here and went and was signaling that the trend is now up as opposed to down, which it was here beginning in February or March. Now we are still in that uptrend. You can see the parabolic remains below the most recent bar. The Bollinger Bands, the 2 standard deviation Bollinger Band, is somewhat above the most recent bar. So that would indicate to us that there's still room to the upside, that this rally can continue. Will it do so? A different question. If we look at this, if we look at some of the other indicators, RSI 21 period is above the 40% line. Once the RSI crosses above 40%, which is what this yellow line is, we start a new trend, and that's consistent with what we saw here, right here with the parabolic switching. It switched at about the same time. Same thing happened on Williams percentile with a 30-day period, and MACD started trending up. This 1939.9, as well as the other one, the 1226.9. So all of these indicators signal a change in the trend, and it's still that way. We still have an uptrend. Let's go to the daily chart. On the daily chart, we see slightly different chart. It's a shorter term, so we're going to get more volatility. And I'm going to crunch it up because we've been looking at these 10-period lows. So approximately 2 weeks of trading. So we made a low here, 10 trading days later, we made a low here, 10 trading days, made a low here, etc., all the way up. And it seems to be following that same consistent pattern of cycling lows, okay? On the daily chart, we also have a 4 EMA above the 9 EMA. That is above the 30 weighted moving average. That's above the 50-day. And just as we saw on the weekly chart, this is also signaling that we do have a nice uptrend. Parabolic turned to an uptrend here, and it's still signaling an uptrend. It's below the most recent bar. So that's telling us we still have an uptrend in place. We calculated a target from the triangle here. We drew a triangle here some way back when, okay, back in June or something. In June, we drew a triangle. It's a symmetrical. It's not really symmetrical, but it's called that insofar as the technical terms are concerned. But from that triangle, we calculated a target of 33.75. We are now just about there, 3372.85. We also noted that the Fibonacci projection, the 1618 projection, was at 3400, and that's only 20 points away, 25 points away. We also noted that in February, we made a high of somewhere around 3389, close to the 3400 that we're seeing here. So all of these, this high, this projection, this target from the triangle is suggesting, and as I mentioned last week, that we should encounter some resistance at this level, and we are likely doing that. So whether this will turn out to be how significant a resistance, we don't know yet. Time will tell. However, we do have a nice uptrend going. Let's take a look at the other indicators. RSI 21, although it's most significant on a weekly chart, it's above the 50% line. MACD is still trending up above the zero line. And this, both of them, okay. Williams percent R remains bullish, and some of the rate of change indicator likewise. So insofar as the daily and the weekly charts of the S&P are concerned, we still have very nice looking uptrends in the market. So let's take a look at some charts on stockcharts.com. This is a chart of Apple. It's a daily chart. You can see that Apple gapped up a couple of times, consolidated here, and it seems to be encountering some resistance here. So beware that Apple might show us a pullback. Although they announced a split 4-for-1, Apple might go through a little bit of a pullback. See, you have a shooting star, this black candle here, and you have a hanging man. And those are both somewhat bearish. Let's take a look at something else. Let's go to the new high, new low index, and you can see that it's still above. We are still getting significantly more new highs and new lows. 882. Let's take a look at the this impulse indicator. Impulse indicator is now colored blue on the daily chart. That signifies that we can go either long or short. But since the weekly chart on the S&P looks, and this is on the S&P, and since the weekly chart on the S&P looks so bullish to me, only to me, as I say, we don't want to go short here at all. I don't think so. We will discuss that later. When do you look for warning signs, and where do you find them? Where do you look for them, and where do you find them? Next chart is the percent of stocks of the S&P 100 above their 200-day moving average. You can see that it's that indicator is now above 50%, and that's pretty bullish, consistent with the bullishness. Okay, so let's pause here. Now we turn to a chart on best choice, and we can see that on the SPDR, which is SPY, which is the S&P, it's the ETF of the S&P. You can see that we are still at 66.6 on the extreme, this regression channel. This line up here would be 90%. This would be 10, and we are only about halfway, a little above halfway from there. So what ours is indicating to us is that it's not overbought yet. We are not quite overbought. So that's interesting from a bullish standpoint. So we turn to Shaken Analytics to take a look at some individual stocks. What I usually do is take a look at the sector ETFs first. Those are interesting to look at first. So this is a list of the sector ETFs, and I've added a few extra ones. For example, I've added the Direction QQQ, TQQQ. I've added ARKK, and perhaps a few others. Yeah, WCLD is another one. But apart from those three or so, you have all the other ones here being the SPDR ETFs. And now you can see that the ones that are very bullish or bullish, including the TQs, that's the first one. But many of them are overbought at this time. It doesn't mean you have to sell, but it means that if you don't own it and you wanted to buy it, you would want to wait for either an overbought signal here, as it did over here, right here, or you want to wait until it pulls back to the 21-day average. See, as it did here, even though it wasn't oversold. I'm sorry, I get confused with oversold. The brain is not like it used to be. At 84, I am excused, right? I'm going to be 85 in 2 months. Okay, so you want to buy at the 21-day average, or if you get both at the same time, oversold, and 21-day, you want to buy. All right, next one is XLK, which is the technology sector. You can see that's also overbought. It was oversold here. That's the time to buy when it was at 21 day. Now I own ARKK. I also own TQQQ, and you can see it was oversold, and then now it's approaching the overbought level and bouncing off of that 21 day. How are we doing on time? XLB is the minerals, and you can see where that's situated. So the bullish ones, you can see what they are here. You might want to take a note, and let's take a look at some of the ones, okay? Okay, here's a list of stocks that I own, most of them. I think the only one that I did sell recently was Qualcomm, but I made a few purchases recently. I think I sold Facebook too, because I believe Facebook became overbought, see? And I didn't like the money flow here, but it doesn't mean I wouldn't go back and buy them. But I own most all of these anyway, if you're interested. And the next list I want to look at is this list here. What I did was I went through many of these lists, and took out stocks that are at this time either oversold or almost oversold and looking pretty good to keep on a watch list. So you can take note of these, take a picture with your phone or whatever. There are 30 of them, 30 of them, 32 of them. 30 are either bullish or very bullish. 2 of them are neutral, and most of them are either oversold or close to being oversold. Let's look at a few of them. I have to keep an eye on the clock here. You can see that Adobe was overbought and is now approaching oversold levels. Okay. Alibaba is approaching oversold. Keep an eye on this level here. Alibaba approaching oversold, coming off the 21 day. What's another one that's common? That's very this one, IHI's medical devices, oversold and ticking up. Okay. Um, let's see. McKesson, same thing. You see, oversold and ticking up. I think it's optimal on a buy. All right. Um, and so you can take a look at some of these. I do own some of them. Look at Cadence Design. Cadence Design is now oversold, and it's bumping off of that 21-day average, you see. So that's good to take a note of. ARKW, I have the ARKK, but notice it's becoming oversold. It's one of those ETFs run by the ARK uh, ETF fund. You see it's bumping off the 21-day average. It's interesting. Let's see. This one I used to own FFTY. It's becoming oversold. It's the IBD 50 growth stocks, and it's also bumping off the 21-day. And you see it typically bounces off the 21-day average. So that's an interesting one to keep an eye on. I own this one. I think I'm up a nice little gain on it. It's oversold and ticking up. I'm pretty sure it's optimal buy. That's right. And it's coming off the 21-day average. Um, let's see. I own Synopsis, and that's becoming oversold again. So that's bumping off the 21-day. Oh, it looks like it will. I bought PayPal again because it's now becoming oversold. It's not quite there yet, but I like the fact that it's seemingly bumping off of this. And I also like the fact that when they missed earnings here, they beat earnings here by 20 cents. So I bought back PayPal again. Of course, what can I say about Tesla? I told you last week why I'm holding Tesla. Well, I was down about 60 grand. Now I'm up 30 grand. That's not bad. See, it was very oversold. It was very oversold, and it was right at the 21-day average. And of course, our friend Elon announced a 5-for-1 split, etc. All right, I think that's it. That's it for now. Let me show you DocuSign as the last one. DocuSign is now becoming oversold, and it's near the 21-day average. So listen, folks, have a good weekend. I hope you had a good weekend. It's already Sunday afternoon, and we'll try to do this again. Okay? Enjoy. Bye.